Well, happy holidays and welcome back to another exciting episode of Spitball Media Podcast. This is our weekly look where we spit out the top entertainment stories of the week. My name is John Draper. Joining me on this weekly spit is none other than the Prince of Philadelphia, Shaheen. Happy post-Thanksgiving, man.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. We don't exchange spit though, just to clarify.
No, we spit out. We all spit.
Yeah, we just spit individually.
We spit into the mouth. We all spit into the collective mouth of entertainment.
Sure.
Like yeah, sure. Why not? And of course, you know him, you love him. He's burly all year round, not just for the holidays. Mr. Beach O'Brien. Beach O'Brien, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Burly and starting to feel jolly because we got all the Christmas shit up, and we had some windstorms the other night. All my inflatables are blown over. They look like they had too much eggnog, so it's fucking a mess, but it's great.
Bisha, you look like you're going out hunting as soon as the show is over.
It's that thick flannel, man. I wear.
Well, you have orange on and the thick flannel, like you have the orange on.
Oh, it's the Maniac shirt, but it looks orange because of my lights.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay, you're not going out killing things after.
No, I'm not a hunter. Like I have family that does. I just can't wrap my head around it. It's like, look, I can go to the store and buy food. No,
never. No chance there. No chance there. I just realized we're all bearded now. We're all bearded twats. Look at that. 3 beardy twats.
It's New Shave November, man.
Well, it ends tonight at midnight because we are talking about December 1st tomorrow. But if you're joining us for the first time, people, thanks for checking us out. But you really want to consider going over to patreon.com/spitballmedia. That's where you get oodles and oodles of noodles of tons of entertainment. We're talking like thousands of hours, like copious amounts of shows going back years ago, exclusive shows, question and answer shows, theme show, bonus shows, solo shows. Shah, is there anything not there at the Patreon?
No, there's a lot of spitting. That's your thing.
A lot of spitting.
It's the perfect Patreon for the spittage.
Yeah, just spit on it and put it in something. Bisho, I mean, this is just a great bargain. You're someone who has a good head for numbers.
Thousands of hours of content at this point, probably billions. I'll just do the Trump thing. Billions and billions, more than any other podcast. Go there. $5 still. Check it out. You can't beat that price, especially with everything going on right now.
Yes, and it's the only inflation-friendly thing out there at this point, Shah, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Fucking shit ain't going down. I'll tell you that. I kind of wish this is the only time I wish I lived down south or in the Midwest for gas prices, because like that shit is not going down, dude.
No, it's not. You can get a gallon of gas and a barrel of meth for like $5.
Yeah, it's still roaming between $3.50 to $4. It's not doesn't seem to be going down.
Any state where you could buy fireworks all year round, right, Bisho? I think that would be a good cheap alternative.
I think so. Yeah. I was talking to someone about that today. Stick closer to the bigger cities. The farther out you get, you start seeing lawn jockeys and Confederate flags. But I think that the legal firework purchase vicinity, I think that
all year round. I'm talking like all year round, like people buying fireworks for like Easter and shit. Right. Shah, you guys have fireworks in PA all year round, right?
Yeah, we got them all the time.
Yeah, I just realized.
I still get them in my neighborhood, like after 4th of July, like all the way up to like middle of the month easily. We still have them almost every night.
Do they do it on New Year's by you? Do they do fireworks?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
What about you, Bisho? Ohio, they do fireworks on New Year's?
On New Year's, no. Every once in a while you'll hear it, but in my grandma's neighborhood growing up, there's a neighbor that used to fire off his guns. I don't get that, but yeah.
I can't see anything going wrong with that. But listen, if you don't want to risk that, you can just go to patreon.com, $5. You got tons of cool people there. It's a great crew. And we'll be happy to take you on there. And thank you to the many, many people who keep the lights on in this place. And, of course, special shout out to the Patreon people, new and old. And, of course, thank you to everybody chilling in the chat. We got Chris Matthews, Felix Ortiz, Joe Punches, the adorable Drew Yari is there. Will T is there. Eric Turner is there. Thank you, Eric. What's happening? And, of course, thank you to all of you for checking us out on the free. But go to patreon.com. Treat yourself. It's only $5 a month. It's a gift that you could just appreciate all year round, like the Jelly of the Month Club. Now, it was just Thanksgiving. We recorded a little bit early. Shah, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. I fucking had food for a solid 2 days afterwards, which rarely happens because I get tired of the Thanksgiving food. Like, I like Thanksgiving. I like the idea, but I think the food is kind of overrated because it's just like, I don't know, man. It's turkey, like turkeys typically, and best believe, man, like we season our shit up, so it's juicy and seasoned. It's just, I don't know. I feel like there's much more flavorful things that we could be doing for Thanksgiving.
I see.
Like if you completely eliminate tacos for the whole year, and once a year you have tacos on Thanksgiving, it'd be so much better.
Yeah. What about those sides, though? I'm all about the sides there. What kind of good sides you work with there?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know, dude. You get mashed potatoes, you could have that all year round. Mac and cheese is all year round. Yams, like whatever. I don't really care for yams that much.
Me
The
neither.
marshmallow, I mean, with the marshmallows is decent, but
Yeah.
I'm not a 5-year-old either. You know what I mean? And I don't know, cranberry sauce. I'm not a fan of stuffing. It's okay, but it's just fucking bread and like, chicken juice and vegetables. Like none of it is that appealing, man. I don't know. It's all the best stuff. You can do it all year round.
Yeah, it smells good though. It does smell
Yeah.
good there.
I like the idea though. You know what I mean? I like getting around.
Okay, so you're more of a fan of the concept of the food, not
Yes, than the
fucking
actual food.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, shout out to Terrell T hanging out with us, and of course Slave Cheeks is with us, and of course Drew Yari. You're always going to be my Drucifer. Bish O'Brien, you look like a guy who just treats Thanksgiving like it owes him money. Are you a big fan of the holiday?
Yeah, it's like the 2-for-1 at the strip club at like noon or whatever when you go with the buffet and shit.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just I have not purposely almost been like a runner in training. I've purposely not been eating as much up until Thanksgiving, and then I fucking pigged out. And you knocked the yams, but my wife made sweet potatoes this year, and she
Oh.
threw in like some nutmeg or some cinnamon just to spice it up a little bit. Oh, it made the difference, dude. Love that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. I think I'm with Shah. I think I like the concept of it. I don't love the meal like the next day as much. Like I'm always like, oh, I ate this yesterday. You know what I'm saying? One of my
It's also very
brother-in-laws.
heavy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very heavy.
Very
Yeah, all of it
It's
is just
too loud.
heavy. It's just no like then they start busting out pies and shit, and I'm like, I'm not even fucking
Well, no,
hungry.
see, like I like it the day of because you can be knocked out by 10 p.m. and go to sleep and no one gives a shit. You could just be a sloppy mess. But then when you have leftovers for the next 2 days, you feel like shit for 3 days in a row because you've
Makes
had
you
mashed
very like
potatoes and
lethargic.
gravy and mac and
Yeah, that
cheese.
gravy. I just put, you know what I do? I take the gravy, I put all that shit on there, and I just put the gravy on the whole fucking thing. I'm just like, why fuck around, B-Show? You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
fuck, everything's the
absolutely.
asparagus is getting the gravy, the fucking everything. Like shit that probably don't need the gravy is getting the gravy.
Absolutely. And Willie T just reminded me of the old Grandmaster. Is it Grandmaster Flash? He was given a plate of mac and cheese so bad on Thanksgiving he had to put Stouffer's mac in the oven at home. Oof.
Oof. Oh, Will T, I am sorry for that, my
Was it
friend.
when
Big Dirk is with us.
macaroni
Dirk-
soggy, the peas are mushed, and the chicken tastes like wood? What
And
song
the
is
chicken
that?
tastes like wood.
Is that Rapper's Delight?
Is that Rapper's Delight? I think it might be. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not that
Sugar
old,
Hill
B-Show.
Gang. Yeah, there you go.
Sugar Hill, yeah, yes, of course. Who could forget the Sugar Hill Gang? But we hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm just gonna get this out of the way because I did put it on social media, and if you look, I am a little bit affected here. I look a little bit like Brundlefly, so it's hard to fucking show you, but yeah, it's pretty gross. So I did. I was in the Pocono Mountains shop, and like right in the middle of the Pocono Mountains, there, a beautiful mansion that was. I didn't pay for this shit. I don't got that kind of scratch. And for my in-laws, and it was this huge guest house that looked like Tony Soprano's house. And then there's a guest house. So I was in the guest house because for some reason my wife was treated like she was adopted. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Maybe because she's married to me. And we never get the good house. So we're in the guest house, which is not bad. It's just not as nice as the main house. So we get there Thursday. I'm checking this place out. It's got a sauna. It's got a fucking hot tub. It's got a basketball court. It's got room to play football. It's got TVs everywhere, yo. Like fucking a media room. I'm not joking. It's got 16 fucking bedrooms. And we get what I think is like a decent room. My kids are next door. My brother-in-law is next door. His kids are in another room. They got a dog. Everything's nice. I'm having the time of my life. I'm fucking drinking. I'm fucking playing cards. Shit, I just drunk at like 2 in the afternoon, playing cards like 3 in the morning, smoking cigars, having the time of my life, right? So I wake up Saturday. We're leaving. I wake up a little early. And I'm like, wow, I got a couple of bites. Maybe I was outside too much. It's the Poconos, it wasn't that cold out. So now I'm looking at my shit and I'm like, wow, I got a lot of these bites. This must have been some mosquito. This must have been one of them new mosquitoes, right? My wife wakes up. My wife's like, I got a lot of bug bites. My wife was not outside. And we're checking each other out. And as we check each other out, we're like, these could be bed bugs. Because like, who the fuck knows, right? I never dealt with bed bugs myself. And we go to the main house. And I guess we didn't realize how much was on our heads and our necks, and everybody starts freaking out like we got like AIDS -10, like just like an AIDS cocktail we just brought in the house. And they're like, those are bed bug bites because some people have dealt with bed bugs. So we go back to the main house. We start putting all of our shit together in bags, and the cleaning people show up, and we tell them what's going on, and they go into the room, and they strip the bed down, and then they start showing us the bed bugs, like the fucking physical bed bugs that ate me all night. And my wife wants to kill herself, like right on the spot. The cleaning people leave. They call the property manager and go, bed bugs, we're out. So we're like, what do we do? So we look it up online. We put all of our shit in plastic bags. This is the worst 3-hour car ride home in your life because now the bed bugs are popping and like Brundlefly shit is happening. And I'm waiting for my transformation. Like I'm waiting for my metamorphosis here, like a Kafka fucking book. And we get home and we got to strip everything down, keep everything outside. I'm nude in my fucking garage, like a fucking weird, like Bigfoot, like a fucking bald Bigfoot, like putting all my shit in bags. My wife is on the verge of death. My daughter, my youngest kid, is dying because she was in the car. Now she's got to go back to college tomorrow and she can't bring over shit. And then they just start popping like everywhere. And I'm no joke, I have hundreds of bed bug bites. Hundreds. I put the pictures online. Some people said that they've experienced this before. I had to go and get antibiotics because we were physically sick from the amount of bites. And you know it's bad when the doctor is looking at you and kind of winces. And I go, are they infected? And the doctor goes, they're not infected, but I have to say, I'm troubled by the amount. This is an alarming amount of bed bug bites. Like the doctor is telling me they have never seen this. Now, Shah, you had MRSA, right? Now, MRSA is very serious. I mean, it's actually quite contagious. But I thought of you. We're putting up my hand right there. That is a hand that masturbates itself right there, guys. That is how can I finish with that hand? That is my masturbating hand. But Shah, you had MRSA. This is not reminiscent of your MRSA.
No, MRSA was way worse. This more looks like pimples on steroids, whereas MRSA is like actual deep punctured wounds. Like you could stick your fucking finger in. You know what I mean?
How many did you have? Did you have hundreds of them? You just have like a few of them?
No, the first time I had it, I had 4. Okay. Which when my doctor saw it, he was shocked because he was like, yo, usually when people get the first one, they rush to the hospital from the pain. How long have you had this to let it go to the point it traveled in your blood and got stuck in 4 different areas in your body? Because, if it travels and hits one of your organs, you're dead. Like they can't do shit for it. You're done, Yeah. So he pretty much told me I had like a death wish to just like ignore it for like a week. And he looked at me like I was insane because he's like, dude, that's like, I can't even fathom how.
And you've never had bed bugs, Shah? Never dealt with them? No. Okay. B-Show, have you ever dealt with bed bugs in your life?
No. Funny enough, though, my family used to like to get a hotel for like all the family to stay out and hang out on like New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah, like I did for Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we would do is we would rent the common area and then everyone gets a room. Well, the past couple of years, my wife and I have been like, you know what? There's been a lot of bed bugs in Toledo and hotels. Like we don't want to fuck around with, drunk family and shit because there's been some shit that's happened when people show up that shouldn't show up. So the past couple of years, we leave early even if we go. And the first year we decided not to. My mom's giving us shit, like loving shit, like why don't you stay and let the kids play? Right. We're like, no, we're going home. The next morning we wake up and it's like bloop, 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 all these notifications. Everyone got bed bugs.
Yeah, like, I avoided the bed bug rush about 10 years ago in New York City. Like, do you guys remember that, Shot? Do you remember like 10 years ago, there was like in the East Coast?
Yeah.
Bed bugs were the hot thing of the summer.
Yeah. It was the bed bug summer.
2013, 2014, something like that.
It wasn't the white boy summer. It was the bed bug summer.
Bed bug summer.
Did you guys get a refund? Because I feel like...
Well, I probably need to be a little careful. So, by the way, I want to just shout out Marquise Johns and Chuck for chilling with us. I am not a person who rents a mansion. You guys know me very well. I am not that person. My in-laws did this as a gift to everybody. So this was left up to them to negotiate. So there was a negotiation and let's just say there was an exchange of money and a promise of paying for any future fumigation in exchange for silence, B-Show. Our silence was purchased. So we are not allowed
yours wasn't,
Mine ain't. Cool. I didn't get shit.
Just the bed bugs.
They bought my wife a brand new mixer. Like, I don't know how my wife got like this brand new mixer, like, I guess to silence us. And if, but like, I didn't get shit. All I got was bit, like repeatedly. Like, dude, I took like I was in the doctor's. They're like, you take your socks and your shirt, your button shirt off. I took my button shirt off and I looked like, you know how like when somebody's been shooting heroin for a long time, like that
Yeah.
they're running out of spots. And I felt compelled to be like, I'm not an IV drug user. Like these are bed bugs. Like if it isn't like Guinness or an edible, I'm not doing it, or bourbon.
Well, it's funny you say that because when I was in college, I worked at the Home Depot, and there was a girl that used to hang out front in the early morning, and they called her Scabby Sally because she had track marks all the way up and down her arm.
Yummers.
And so when I saw that post you put up on Facebook, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, my hands is pretty terrible. My hand is vile. When I went to pay for the doctor thing, the girl, I thought she was going to throw up when I handed her my debit card. Now, this was on Monday.
That's not a good sign when someone in the doctor's office
Tuesday.
is going to throw up.
Yeah, this is not it. This is a doctor's office. Like, is the doctor supposed to throw up? Like, Shah, did your doctor when you had MRSA throw up when they were looking at you?
No, I'm sure he wanted to though. I was fucking disgusting. Yeah. Dude, I have a tape of it somewhere where we were treating it with 151 for like a week, where we would just pour 151 on my kneecap. And the girl that lived downstairs, she would take a Q-tip and go inside it with
motherfucker!
Yeah.
God
151,
damn,
man.
Disgusting. God damn.
Do you guys ever watch those videos online where they like shove, like they squeeze the pus out of them and stuff? They land.
Yeah, my wife likes that shit. No, I swear to God, like my wife, there's a brand new KitchenAid, like top of the line. I'm staring at it. My wife is a baker, and I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why this was purchased and why this was sent to our house in exchange for social media silence. My wife, listen, I'm going to be very frank with you. My wife is covered one side of her face, like half of her. They got her, and they didn't get my face because of the beard. I think they got lost. Like it was like a maze. It was like
sure you don't have it in your beard now, man?
Nothing. I would be covered. You know how many bites I would have? Do you have any? You think I wouldn't notice this in my face?
Maybe they're smart. They're laying low for a day or two to fucking creep back up.
No chance. They eat right away. They eat.
Oh man, I would have shaved, dude. You're bold.
No, they told me not. They said don't bother if you don't feel any bite. I just no bites.
They shaved my butt cheeks, everything. I would have shaved everything.
They stopped like right here.
Or shaved my nipples.
Like mostly it's my arms. I had like pajamas on because I'm sleeping in a house with all my relatives. I'm not gonna have my thing flying out. So, but it's my hands, my feet, my neck, and my head. They got my head in the back. Like they must have had like a gourmet thing. There must have been something really good going on back there. So yeah, I checked the beard exclusively, and even the doctor said there was like, oh, your face would be just covered. So I don't think they could get to the face because my legs are almost fine, and my legs are hairy, like Italian old lady hairy. Like they're like scary hairy, Bisho. My legs look like forget it, like Chaka Land of the Lost shit. I think they only went Shah where there was the least amount of fucking hair. You know, I mean, look at that shit. Brundlefly. So
the best thing is that everyone knows you're a comic fan. So all of us immediately said, when are you getting your superpowers?
Yeah, people are waiting. People are waiting for me to. Oh, Zane, what's up, Zane Vicious? So thanks to everybody chilling out. So yeah, I don't have any sort of diseases. It's just bed bugs. It's been treated. We took every precaution to not bring it in our home, and the fact that we don't have any more. But it's been one of the worst weeks of my life, and unfortunately, it's culminated around a good holiday season. But yeah, my legs, like Slave Cheek says, my legs look like Robin Williams' knuckles. That's a Seth Rogen line.
So what would be your superpower if like? Because I mean, Spider-Man, like spiders have webs. That's cool. They can. What the fuck?
I would probably grow a head of hair. I think that would
probably just show up randomly in people's beds. That would be like your superpower and not get kicked out.
I would probably. I don't know what my superpower would be. I would probably be self-respect. I think.
Imagine just John in the middle of the night. You just wake up. He's just cuddling next to you. Like, what the fuck?
He jumps up like Frank Reynolds. Like Frank Reynolds. I'm the bed bug.
Self-respect would be my superpower. Okay. Because, dude, like my wife was like, "Don't tell anybody," and I'm like, "That's not happening." Like I don't do that. I tell everybody.
Too late. It's on Twitter.
I only put it on Twitter. I didn't put it in my Christian shit. My Christian names. I only put it on Twitter because my in-laws were really upset because they were like, "Look, this is taken over the weekends," and I'm like, when we got bit like 800 times. Like, what did you? This isn't somebody left their phone at the house and it's missing. Like, I probably would be a villain. I probably would be a villain. I would have to be a super villain. But yeah, it's disgusting, and I just didn't want to be a phony about it. But hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I'm sure yours were all better than mine. Even if, like, if you fell down a flight of stairs onto a bunch of razor blades, you would be less uncomfortable than I am right now. But listen, now that we're in the holiday holiday season, people, we're going to be doing our end of the year show in a couple of weeks. This is going to be our blowout. This is probably our biggest show of the year. We are going to be dropping the top 5 horror films of the year. And I got to be honest with you, my list has changed dramatically in the last couple of weeks. B-Show, are yours concrete?
No, I actually have to go back and look at what I've actually watched because I remember, I think the top 3, which will obviously be the top 3, but there's other ones that I forgot came out this year that people are talking about now that I'm going to have to go back and check out. I think I have a solid top 3 or 4, and they might change a little bit based on, memory, but yeah, man, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready to do it. I think we'll probably do it in a couple of weeks, and we encourage you guys to share with you once we know we're doing it. We'll go over yours as well. But Shah, do you have your list? Your list is done, right?
Yeah, mine is pretty much done. If we decide to do like another list with just regular movies, that's probably the one that's a little bit more complicated for me.
Yeah.
But as far as horror, it's been solidified for at least a month now.
Well, listen, I have to say this only because I'm going to have a tough time not putting Thanksgiving in there. I'm just telling you. And if I know you guys have seen it, and no, I don't have gonorrhea, Joe Punches. I would
shout
have
out to Joe Punches. He just got a commission done by me this week, so shout out to him.
Always shout out to Joe Punches.
Dirk too. Shout out to Dirk.
The BIGDERK. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to do the top 5 outside of that if we have those. I've seen quite a few of the big films. I haven't seen them all. But I'm excited to do that. We'll probably do that in a couple of weeks, people. And of course, we'll do for the Patreon, we'll do a very special holiday show for the year. Sorry we didn't get to you for this month, but we gave you a pretty action-packed bonus show because it is the holiday and a lot of people take off. But yeah, mine have changed. Mine have changed in the last month. I think you guys might be surprised with some of mine that are on there. And by the way, to all you guys listening, if you want to add my Bedbugs to your top 5 horror, I think you should be allowed to do that. Don't you think, Shah? I think that's fine.
Only if you got the special powers to like curl up next to somebody's kneecap in the middle of the night. Like I feel like that's where the gold mine is, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think the picture of my hands got to be in the top 5 B-Show. It's got to be at least a 6.
It's almost like a Nosferatu poster where it's like, the fingers curled up with the bumps on them. They just feel them lightly brushing like Shah said, the back of your kneecap in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Jump up.
Yeah. It's been, look, it's ruined my whole week. Like I went back to work for a day. The second day I said, listen, I have to go to the doctor. I can't sleep. Me and my wife are miserable. It's just was so uncomfortable. But I still managed to crank out doing a couple of podcasts this week for the weekend. I joined Soup for the Survivor Series. Might talk a little bit more about that. And then also Ringside is the return of our boys from across the pond. So shout out to the boys across the pond. I did a little Survivor Series recap. I was bombed doing that Wrestling Soup. I just listened to it today. I was bombed. I was so uncomfortable and I just didn't even want to talk about it. But I just drank myself into a bourbon nightmare. But before we proceed, I just want to give a special shout out to Shane McGowan, who passed away today, lead singer of the Pogues. Irish, traditional Irish band there, but very much known for his teeth. And of course, his very odd sort of demeanor. The Pogues were a really cool band. I had an opportunity to see them with when Shane McGowan was kicked out in the late 80s, early 90s. And I didn't go because Joe Strummer from The Clash was singing. And I regret that because he's also dead. But I'm a big fan of Shane McGowan. He's the only person I know in entertainment who had worse teeth than myself. He did get them fixed. And he was just an iconic Irish, tough, unique human being. And he died today at 65. And of course, most people know him for the song Fairy Tale of New York, the Christmas song, with Kirsty McCall. So shout out to the Irish legend. You got to see. You guys see his teeth? Look at this. Oh, you got to get a good picture. Show Shane McGowan's teeth. You can't this is he makes my teeth look perfect. Oh, here look at that. Look at his teeth.
Jesus, dude, I want to see this.
It's a legend, right? Those teeth are legendary.
Yeah, I'm sure.
This
Rest
guy
in
was
peace, but
icon, bro. This man was look at there we go. That's the picture I wanted right there, P-Show. He did get his teeth fixed later in life, but this guy's an icon. This is a musical fucking icon right here, man. And he died today. The fact this guy lived to 65 is like me living to 183. Drunk, Irish, hard living, cigarette smoking, fighting like rebel, man. It was the best shit. I'll be so bombed tomorrow night listening to the Pogues. I might have to take some video of it. I'm gonna have a Pogues Guinness party. But big story this weekend, very unexpected in the entertainment world. A little movie we've talked about a little bit on the podcast. I think we may have talked about it more on Patreon, that there was going to be what's considered what they call a Shin Godzilla movie, which is the traditional Japanese style Godzilla, not the American version or American style version. And it was called Godzilla -1. And I don't know as of right now, but this is one of the hottest fucking late entries of the year films, guys, because this movie pushed its way into IMAX for the weekend with a very crowded theatrical release. And it had 100% Rotten Tomatoes score. 100 fucking percent. Unreal. Shah, have you seen the actual trailer? I know we can't play it here, but
I think we watched it on Patreon.
watch it on Patreon.
Yeah.
Let's see, guys. Look at 98. Holy fucking shit.
It's pretty incredible, though. 98 that's high.
Yeah, it was 100 earlier. It opened tonight. I don't know. I mean, I'm a Godzilla fan, so I love the classic Godzilla. I mean, this looks like something you would see in a movie theater, right, P-Show?
Yeah, I think I'm going to call in sick for my family this weekend and just go knock out this Killers of the Flower Moon and Napoleon, and then get an IV bag. You
know, they're saying this is off the charts. It's a $15 million film, and the critics are saying it looks like $150 million movie. Apparently, it's about. I don't want to talk about the movie too much because obviously we haven't seen it. It just opened, but it's the classic, sort of in the Godzilla story. Apparently, there was a global war that had just took place, and Japan is still, recovering from it. And Godzilla shows up, Shah, as he always does.
I think I'm kind of surprised by how giving people on Rotten Tomatoes have been, because I feel like this year we've discussed this decent amount of movies that came out with 80+ percent as far as critic scores, because that's kind of rare. I don't recall that happening quite as often.
You mean
as it does
people
now,
being
anyway.
more generous, or you think people are just
really, I think people are
Well, you have to remember, though, Shah, there's been a lot of big films this year. There's been big, groundbreaking type films. I mean, whether you're Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, even Barbie, these are big fucking movies. I mean, these are huge films.
Yeah, but even Talk to Me. Remember, Talk to Me was doing
the
really
reviews
well.
were outstanding. Yeah, the critics loved it, but it was well deserved. Now I'm a little turned off by the 2-hour 5-minute mark here, B-Show. I did not expect that for a Shin Godzilla movie.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it moves quick because I'm looking at some of these reviews. A lot of times we talked about Siskel and Ebert last week. They weren't always, too kind to movies like this. But Lucas Trevor from the Washington Post, the result is nothing short of magical, a feast for the eyes. Richard Whitaker from the Austin Chronicle. There's as much of Akira Kurosawa's Ikiru here as there is the rubber suit genius of Godzilla creator Ishiro Honda.
Jesus.
And that's a pairing as powerful as any monster mashup. So it's not just getting good reviews, it's blowing away even people who write for the New York Post, which aren't usually that favorable. Yeah.
Damn, it sounds legendary. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, Shah, you got to see some of these, like the reviews, like the standard reviews off of Rotten Tomatoes. Like if you just went and put it in there, just put reviews. It's not even like they're getting good reviews. They're getting the kind of reviews that Academy Award movies want to get. And this is a Shin Godzilla movie. And guys, $15 million. You can't make a low budget rom-com in this country for $15 million.
Yeah, but just the fact that one of these critics mentioned Kurosawa in the same
Yeah,
sentence as
Kurosawa.
the Godzilla movie, like
Yeah.
it's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the guy because he was way before my time, but I mean, he's like almost like a Kubrick, you know what I mean? Like he's one of the best of all time.
Oh,
So
he's considered. We wouldn't have anything we probably like if there was no Kurosawa.
Yeah, Kill
because
Bill, a lot of these movies.
Yeah, there would be no Tarantino. There would be no Chan-wook Park. You know what I mean? None of these guys would be doing shit. I don't know how.
He was a master of like movement on screen, like foreground, background, like
guys like background.
Yeah, like Spielberg and a lot of those guys who came out of USC from the '60s really, really took a lot. And I'm not saying steal, but like really were inspired by that.
Oh, even Spielberg talks about Kurosawa.
Yeah,
I mean everybody, Scorsese, Coppola, Spielberg. I don't know how you don't go see this film. I can't. Like it just looks like Joe Punch said, it looks like the old school Godzilla movies were, but in a high end environment. You know, and no one. It just came out tonight. But it is, Chris Matthews. It is a $15 million film. I mean, this is unprecedented. You can't even make a decent like Smile had a bigger budget than this movie. Like, you know what I mean? Be sure, like Barbarian had a $20 million budget.
What was Thanksgiving? I know it made 10, but what was it, like 2.5 or 5 or something?
No, I think it was like 15 or 20.
Was it? Wow. So there you go. A straight ahead slasher set in Boston. Same budget as the amazing shit we saw in that trailer. It's crazy,
and some people, guys, are talking. The soundtrack got released today, and apparently it is straight fire shot. Like it's all that big orchestra. Like I have to see it. I have to see it.
So how come this was so much cheaper than other projects that have been outsourced to Japan and stuff? Like I don't understand how that works.
I don't know. I think because all the money went to the budget, to the effects budgets. You know, there's no stars in it. You don't got to pay a high budget. I don't know if there's some big Japanese actor or actress tailoring the fucking cast there. You know what I mean? It probably all went to special effects. And by the way, we've seen the trailer. For those of you that haven't seen the trailer, please download the trailer. It looks like practical effects to the point where they have to, like, there's hundreds of people running. These are not AI people, guys. These are like, there's thousands. It looks like there's hundreds, if not 1,000 extras. I mean, who the fuck knows? This is like maybe guerrilla style filmmaking. But I want to see how this does at the box office. Shah, do you think this could be like the sleeper hit that closes out the year?
I mean, honestly, we'll discuss what's the highest grossing horror movie of the year. That surprised me. So after that, like, I mean, anything is a possible task. I mean, Godzilla has a big cult following also. So, I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know if this did money overseas yet, guys. I don't know if this is a global opening or we just got it now. I don't think it is. Bisho, can you check and see if this is a global opening? Because this might already have made its money back, and maybe it made so much money we got it, and we weren't supposed to get this movie. You know, I'm excited. You know, Chris Matthews says the soundtrack incorporates air raid sirens into the score. Oh my god, dude. Oh, this could be on my list. But it is playing in IMAX. It's playing in RPX. It's playing in standard. I've never seen a Japanese Godzilla movie in a theater. If anyone in the chat has, I'd be curious to know what that experience was like. So it came out. No, this is it. It's a
Box Office Mojo says international 23 million.
It's already a hit. That's already made 23 million overseas. Over 100% recouped. Look at that, B-Show. It's already over 100% recouped. Wow.
Great.
Yeah, guys. You got to experience this in IMAX. I think it starts at 10:30 Saturday, and I'm gonna get myself in a bourbon Pogues coma with Guinness so that I sleep early and get up, throw up, probably sob a little bit because my life is falling apart and I'm covered in Brundlefly, and then go see Godzilla in the cover of darkness so no one can see me.
Like Darkman, just all covered up, and
Darkman had better skin complexion. And he looked younger. I believe Neeson was probably like 30 something when he did that. Mm-hmm. But Shah brought this up earlier, guys. Fascinating information. Not only is this going to surprise a lot of you, but it's actually kind of sad. As of last week, I think we reported that Five Nights at Freddy's was in fact the highest grossing horror film of 2023, which is a major accomplishment because it was a pretty crowded field. But not only, guys, is it the highest grossing horror film, which, by the way, was also streaming for free on streaming. You didn't have to go see it in a theater, and it still is the highest grossing film. It is the highest grossing Blumhouse movie of all time. And Blumhouse movies make some fucking money. Like The Conjuring, those movies, The Nun, they make bank. Well, Five Nights at Freddy's is the undisputed king. Bistro, drop those numbers because they are ridiculous.
Holy shit. Domestic
Jesus.
136 million in the US, 147 international for a grand total of 284,339. Holy, for a movie that, like you said, was streamed night 1 on Peacock or
Yeah.
night 5 or whatever.
Night 1. Oh, night 1 on Peacock. It's been on Peacock since the day 0. Shah, I mean, whatever we think of the movie, this is unbelievable money, global, domestic, and I mean, look at it. And by the way, guys, the domestic and foreign is almost identical.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess this is more so just the gaming fans, because horror movies don't really do, $250 million, man.
No, they do not.
Unless it's something that's. I mean, what's the last horror movie that did $250 million world? I can't recall. Did Halloween do crazy numbers like that?
Maybe.
Halloween 2018 did like 100 million.
Yeah, it did 100, and it was considered very strong.
But is that worldwide, or are you talking about in the U.S.?
I think worldwide. I think it's worldwide.
Because this did $250 million world.
Yeah, and I think we saw this cost about 20 mil. I don't think this was more between 20. We'll check the budget for it. Yeah, Halloween 2018.
Oh, 259
wow,
worldwide.
Yeah, 259 worldwide.
Okay.
Yeah, 259 worldwide. But that also has the luxury of Halloween. I mean,
right.
And Five Nights made more than Halloween.
Right.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it made a lot more, B-Show. Made a lot. And it was streaming for free. We all saw it for free, essentially. Like, we didn't pay to see this movie.
So, I got to look at the numbers and break it down because that's what I do. It says at widest, it was in 3,789 theaters.
Wow, that's a lot.
It made 75 grand a theater, it looks like. I don't know if that's my math is off or what.
Jesus Christ, man. 34 days and 4 weeks. This made over $250 million in 34 days. Shah, I think you're right. I mean, look, we'll never know what the mystery here is, but it has to be tied to the popularity of the game. Even though the game had been around for a long time, and the audience is now teen or early 20s or late teens. I don't know enough about the game, but just out of curiosity, I'll ask you both this. Let's pretend this never was on Peacock. Do you think this would have did another 40, 50 fucking million?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
absolutely.
Soft 30, 40 mil?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the people that went to the movie theater are probably the hardcore gaming fans. I think there's a solid horror fan base that they missed out on that probably just watched it on Hulu. That didn't care too much about seeing this in the theater. They just
that was a lot of people I know. That's us.
But I feel like the gaming crowd is the one that would want to go see it in the theater because they're so closely attached to the actual product and the brand. Because horror movies, I mean, horror fans, the ones that are in their 40s and 50s, probably don't give a shit about the game.
No,
right? But the ones,
but it was a popular horror film. It opened on Halloween, also, guys. This was the Halloween horror film. Right. That was always going to be a boost there. B-Show, what do you think? 30, 40 mil it could have maybe done in box office out of streaming?
Easy, hard to say. Because we're talking about horror fans, we're talking about gamers, but there's also people who aren't necessarily horror fans that will go to a horror movie if it's something familiar like this. Like back in the day, there was no people who were fans of Halloween or Friday the 13th before those movies came out. Like they went to go see The Omen or they went to see The Exorcist. But there was a lot of people, just general public, who would go to these movies, and a lot of teenagers that would take dates because the girls will jump into your arms and shit. Right. Like there was a whole other aspect to that. And I think I figured out one of the reasons why Blumhouse is so successful and has so much penetration. So we talked a couple weeks ago about horror movies and art having to push boundaries, right? Because that's what artists want to do. But I think if you look at horror movies as like a roller coaster ride, you go on a roller coaster. I'll do the highest hill. I'll do the fastest coaster. I'll do the most loops. I'll do all that shit. But if I'm not strapped in with a seatbelt, like I'm not going to get on the fucking ride. Right. And I think there's something safe about these movies, especially the ones that are more PG-13, where like there's some, I don't want to say heavy shit going on in this movie. I don't want to give it away since it's still pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's at most this point,
But what I'm saying is there's an undercurrent of a story there that's ties in with like true crime, and it's like a serious thing to these people, but it's also somewhat safe. And I think most people going to movies like this, they don't want to necessarily push the envelope. They don't want to see the most brutal, the most sadistic. That's horror movie fans who like watching horror movies. It's not the general public. And I think Blumhouse figured out, like, hey, we can give them a roller coaster ride as long as we put the lap bar down, they'll be just fine. And it's like a safe way to go and watch these movies and see this shit. And they don't have to get too grossed out. They don't have to get too bothered by it psychologically. It's just popcorn. You know what I mean? It's just a popcorn movie.
So it's poser. So it's a poser horror movie essentially.
I don't know if I'd say a poser horror movie. It's just they found that way to give you a horror movie, but not go so far as to gross people out so they can still enjoy it. Because I was talking to somebody about I don't remember what movie it was. I think it was Martyrs. And they said, I really liked that movie, but I felt dirty after watching it. And when I go and watch a movie, this is a guy who likes some horror movies, but he's more mainstream. He said, like, I want to enjoy the experience. I don't want to feel dirty or grossed out. So I think there's a lot of people that will watch a horror movie if it's not too intense. And that's exactly who Blumhouse caters to.
Yeah,
So.
I think so. What do you think about that, Shah? Do you think that that's just their niche now? And because look, they also had the benefit of this being a successful video game franchise for like teenagers, right? So it's not like they invented this shit and fucking put it out there. You know, like earlier in the year, they had Megan, which is almost the same kind of movie, and it did make a lot of money, you know, and people did go see it, but nothing like this. Like,
Right.
do you think this is the Blumhouse way? But this really transcends Blumhouse. This transcends like any horror movie box office.
By the way, shout out to the 25 people we had in the chat room. If you can't hit that like button.
Oh yeah, please hit that subscribe. Thank you.
I think they've got like mainstream horror kind of cornered. You know, like I compared them to WWE a couple weeks ago, and I kind of stand by that. Like they are the horror brand that's mainstream. And you know, I coined the basic bitch horror thing, but that's what it is. It's mainstream horror that caters to everyone, that you wouldn't be offended walking into, right? And movies that would offend you or disturb you to that sense, like to that extent, I don't even think they would be in theaters. Like you wouldn't see a movie like Martyrs in the movie theater. That's just not.
Well, when Evil Lurks is on the Martyrs level, and it was in theaters, it was
but that was like selective.
It was select. Yeah, it was select. It was a foreign.
Those are different. Those will play fucking.
Martyrs is also a foreign film. I mean, you know, that's
I'm talking about like the mainstream theaters, not like the art house.
Oh yeah, like Regal's not going to have August Undergrounds,
right?
You know,
that's what I mean. You're not even going to see that type of movie in a movie theater. That's not, you know, one of these art house ones that plays John Waters on a Friday night. Like those, I expect, right? Like I expect that to play Solo and fucking, you know, Cannibal Holocaust. Like you're not,
or even like Caligula, like, you know, or something
right?
like
that.
That's
exactly. That's not something that you would see at an AMC or a Regal movie theater. It's just not happening, right? The closest you'll get to that as an infinity pool is a Hereditary. That's as close as you're going to get to actual like disturbing material.
Yeah, well, like a Sizu as far as violence, as far as like over the top violence and like dismemberment and shit like that.
Well, I don't think away from violence as much as well, I guess Martyrs is just violence.
Yeah. But like Drew Yari says, Martyrs isn't even like a horror film to him. It's a drama. I mean, it's it's a thriller. I think would be fair to say.
Movie, dude. That's a horror.
Yeah. Hereditary. You look. There's people who have told me they don't think Hereditary is a horror film. Like they just because it's too art. They think it's an art house thriller. You know what I mean? Because the acting level is so high end and the story is so.
I don't like that though, because then you're just shitting on the horror genre. We're just saying like the acting is too good, so it can't be.
Well, the horror genre did that to itself. I mean, let's be honest.
But I'm saying it's bounced back. Though we've had
it's totally
10, 15 years of
you have A-listers trying to get into these movies now. You know what I mean? It's outrageous, dude. Yeah, Inside, Chris Matthews says that's another one. But also, like in their respective countries, I don't know that they're considered a horror. They could be considered art house movies, right? Like in France, Inside like Frontiers, of course it's a horror movie, but like maybe people could treat it like Martyrs, like it's a fucking art house movie. You know what I mean? Like Hereditary is on that level for us.
Even Hereditary, you can't say that it's not a horror movie. It's literally about possession. Like that's a fucking horror movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Possession is art house, though. It's very artsy. It's very high end.
But saying that even if you go back to the Universal monster movies, like if you watch Frankenstein, that's more. And again, it's old. It's kind of dated.
Frankenstein,
so it's
Dracula.
Yeah, but it's more psychological. It's the idea of oh my God, he dug up bodies and he's playing God. And that was
Yeah.
much more terrifying to people back then. But society's changed and horror moves with it. So love you, Drew, but I have to disagree with that opinion that that Martyrs is not a
Yeah,
horror
Martyrs
movie.
is definitely horror. Even like people say Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal. Like I can see an argument for that, saying that's not a horror, that's a thriller or a mystery, whatever. Okay, I get that. But when you have actual possession and fucking people getting skinned left and right, the whole
Literally
movie is
skinned
just,
alive. Yeah.
yeah, the whole movie is people getting skinned. Not like Silence of the Lambs, where there's a couple gory scenes, but for the most part, it's a thriller, it's a mystery, it's disturbing. It plays into the horror category a little bit, but I can see the argument for a movie like that.
You know, I got to stop you right there, Shah. Joe Punches. I remember this very vividly because I'm a lot older than you guys. Silence of the Lambs was not considered a horror film
That's
when it came out at all.
Literally what I just said.
And Anthony Hopkins won an Academy Award.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think historically we view it now in that context. But at the time, no one would have the balls to put Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins in a horror film.
Yeah.
You know, a Jonathan Demme fucking horror movie based on a bestseller. You know, it's interesting. My brother Joe and I were talking about because he was asking me if we saw anything about the Omen prequel. And I said, no, but as soon as there's a trailer, I know we're going to talk about it. And he was telling me that he thinks we were kind of discussing how we thought the Omen, like the Exorcist gets all of the heat, like all of the love, where the Omen gets treated almost like it's like a special needs version of the Exorcist. Like, but I watch the Omen periodically. I really, really do. And I watch the second one periodically. And if you look at the fucking lineup of the Omen, the actors in that movie, there are A-list actors, or very solid acting in those films. Now, it's never going to get the Exorcist love because I think the Exorcist just I think it was just it was a made better film and a better soundtrack, a better score, better director, but realistically, I think the Omen is up there with the Exorcist. And people treated these films as horror films, but they were like, for the 70s, you know what I'm saying, Shah? Like, these were like the horror films that people actually admitted they went and saw. Like, you know what I mean? Because there wasn't a big horror market in 73, 74.
Right. Well, it was underground, I think. It didn't. I think horror blew up after like The Shining and Exorcist and those type of movies. They kind of, got some respect. But
yeah, and then it paved the way for, I think, the slashers, and stuff like that, right, Bisho? Because we didn't. The genre really opened up post Exorcist, post Omen, post The Possession, post those kind of movies.
What year was Exorcist? Was that 74?
74, maybe? What's Exorcist? 73?
73. When was Black Christmas? Because that's
71, 73 or 71. I mean,
yeah, I think that's before Exorcist.
First, I think I can't wait to start watching that motherfucker this weekend.
I was going to say that. You mentioned the Wayne Campbell Star Trek: The Next Generation, comparing the Omen to The Exorcist. I was going to say that too. Is I'd be remiss to say similarly to that is Black Christmas. If you look at Black Christmas, maybe the craftsmanship or the cinematography was different and the pacing was different, but really there's not a whole lot different between Black Christmas and Halloween.
I mean, no, not at all.
It's very hard to argue that point. From the escaped killer, he's stalking these girls.
Oh yeah,
college instead of high school. I mean, it really is. And that breathing, in that movie when Billy or whoever his name is, he's calling on the phone. I mean, there was other ones like When a Stranger Calls. I think that came out in like 72.
Yeah,
but like there was movies like that, but I think it was like the post-Vietnam era. It started to become a little bit more. People started to become more afraid of the person next door. And then that's when you get your crazed slasher type of shit. And it is a shame because as loved as Black Christmas is by like horror movie aficionados, most people don't even know what the fuck it is. And that's a travesty.
Well, one thing I wanted to get to, we did ask some people to share their favorite horror Christmas movies because tomorrow is December 1st. And, we always do a little recap. We always have the ones we revisit. There's some new, I think, movies to add to that list because last year we had a big budget sort of Die Hard Santa R-rated crazy movie. I forget what the fucking name of it. I loved it.
Bloody Christmas.
Well, we have Christmas Bloody Christmas on Shudder, which I can't wait to watch again. I just added it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Can't wait to watch that fucker. But theatrically, we had that David Harbour movie, which I saw on Christmas Eve.
Violent Night.
Violent Night. I fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it's a little bit more Die Hard than horror, but it is gory and it is a lot of fucking violent murder in the fucking movie, and it's Santa.
Is
And
that
of
the
course,
robot one?
No, the robot is Christmas Bloody Christmas
Okay.
show,
All right.
which is already back on Shudder. And I also want to point out, Shudder put out a thing that that very small themed Christmas horror movie that was out a few weeks ago is being added tonight. I forget the name of it. It's a take on a Christmas song. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? There was a Christmas horror movie. I forget who's in it. Oh, fuck. Hopefully somebody will G-check me in the chat. It's getting added to Shudder like tonight. Do you guys know what? It was a Christmas horror movie. It came out a couple weeks ago. It did make it to theaters. I think Sam Hoyo said it was the worst movie he saw of the year. But I want to check it out.
Oh, It's a Wonderful Knife.
It's a Wonderful Knife. That is going to be on Shudder
Sounds
as of
atrocious.
tomorrow. What's that?
Ugh. So that sounds atrocious. That's horrible.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. If anybody in the chat knows a little bit about it, I'm curious because I'm pretty sure Sam Hoyo said it was the worst piece of shit he's ever seen.
Real quick, I did want to mention before we moved on to the Christmas stuff. Back to the slasher thing, just real quick. I don't think slashers work as well as they used to anymore because keep in mind, those movies came out when serial killers were actually a thing. Nowadays, everybody's got Ring cameras. No one's actually really that scared of people like intruding into their space. Like, it's just not really a thing anymore. I mean, it still happens, but it's not.
I mean, I'm sure we still have serial killers. They just blended in with our neighbors, right? I mean,
no, the serial killers. I mean, they usually, like we've discussed this when we were Break the Apocalypse. Serial killers nowadays, to me, are mass shooters. You know, they know they can't kill a bunch of people. You're not going to get away with murder for that long unless you're in the inner city where nobody cooperates with the police. You know, but if you're in an area where there's Ring cameras on every door, dude, you're getting caught in 3 days. Like, it's not. You can't be a serial killer nowadays. It's just not even.
Hopefully, you're getting caught in 3 days.
Yeah, I hope so. But
yeah. By the way, guys, Justin Long is the star of "It's a Wonderful Knife." His triumphant barbarian role.
Well, that gives me some hope, though. At least
I'll check it out. I'll check it. I mean, it's going to be on Shudder. It's a Christmas horror movie. It's Christmas time. So we asked if you guys in the chat if you want to throw out some of your favorite Christmas horror movies. I know what's Feliz Navidad? Is that a real movie, Slave Cheeks? I guess I've never heard of it. Either one of you guys heard of Feliz Navidad?
I'll check
it out. And then, of course, Chris Matthews mentions Violent Night. Violent Night was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to watching that again. I don't know who has it streaming, but I'm sure I'll be able to check that out. And, of course, Christmas Bloody Christmas. If you guys have Shudder, you have to. Oh, he said he made it up. Okay. He said he made it up. No, he didn't make it up. Look,
there's a short. Yeah, it's a short from 2022.
It's a short from last year. Look at that. Oh, Struyari goes Jingle All the Way. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. That is really good. I like that one of the movies.
Dude, I had no idea that there's 5 of them.
Yeah, you can't get through all of them. They get pretty terrible.
Yeah, I bought all 5 of them because they came in like a set.
Yeah,
but
2 is the big one. 2 is like the big motherfucker one.
Yeah,
3 is basically most of 2, right? Is 2? Is 2? Oh, that's 2. Oh, 2 is a piece of shit. Yeah,
Garbage day. Yeah,
2 is a piece of shit because it's.
I've only seen the first 2.
What's that?
I've only seen the first 2.
Yeah, one of them has nothing to do with the others. It's about a toy maker, but it's supposed to be pretty good. You know, you got to watch those. And then Santa's Sleigh with Bill Goldberg. Chuck is bringing up. Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, if you guys have any special ones there, Santa's Sleigh, I've never seen that. I have Krampus. A lot of people did mention Krampus. I like Krampus quite a bit. I thought Krampus was pretty good. Black Christmas to me is, you know, and of course, B-Show Christmas Evil. We're big fans of Christmas Evil.
I was gonna say I'm eternally indebted to you for turning me onto that because that's become maybe my favorite Christmas movie of all.
I got to be honest with you. That and Black Christmas are like my 2. And I like what's the one we always talk about, the Finnish one with the evil Santa. We always talk about
rare
exports, rare imports,
imports or exports.
Rare exports, yeah.
Yeah, rare exports. I'll be squeezing that in. But to be honest with you, I kind of there's rare exports. That's a good watch right there. But that Christmas Bloody Christmas, man. I'm rewatching that B-Show. That blew me the fuck away.
The one with again, I'm moving place to place. Is that the one with the robot?
Yeah, the robot.
Yeah,
that Terminator, was really good.
Santa.
Yeah, I threw that guy a prop, the filmmaker. I wonder if we can get him on for Christmas. That'd be kind of fun. I'd love to talk to that guy. He seems like a regular dude. The guy who made it. Yeah, I might reach out to him, see if we can get him on for the Christmas episode. I'm sure he might be a little busy, because that's a pretty cool movie and a lot of people checked it out. Gremlins. I think Gremlins is a Christmas movie. Absolutely. And it's a horror movie, really. I mean, it's a kid's horror movie, but it's a horror movie. Shah, is Gremlins a horror Christmas movie?
I never associated it with horror, but it's definitely a Christmas movie, I would say. Because, I mean, Gremlins, if you consider Gremlins a horror movie, like you could say E.T. is a kid's horror movie, really.
Yeah, some people, yeah, I guess you could say that. I think E.T. is a G movie. Is E.T. PG?
Probably
I know they
G.
it's a G. It could be a G. Drew Yari's asking about Cobweb because it is making a lot of people's lists. I did see it. Did both of you see Cobweb? I think you might have seen it, B, right?
No, I was gonna see it, and then a bunch of people said it's not really worth watching.
Yeah, it was on a couple of people's lists, which we will not be doing the list tonight. We'll probably do them in a couple of weeks. Is it a G movie?
That's what I'm looking for.
Go up to the top there.
PG.
In 80. Okay. PG in 1982 was prior PG-13, so you can still get away with some shit in some PG movies.
Yeah.
Batman Returns. Yeah, I guess that's a Christmas movie. Die Hard isn't a horror movie, but we're talking about Christmas horror films, or Christmas themed horror movies. I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, that's the age-old debate, right?
What was that anthology movie? There was a Christmas anthology movie last year that came out.
Wow, Christmas anthology.
It was like 2 hours and some change. It was long as hell.
A Christmas anthology movie?
Deathcember. That's what it was.
Oh, wasn't it like the Advent calendar? There was one of those on Shudder too. That was German, I think. I feel like that was German. Yeah, that might be back. Shudder, I think tomorrow starts there. I checked already because I added Christmas Bloody Christmas to my list. But and Shah, that's how I knew they had Cannibal Man. The Cannibal Man they just added, by the way, Shudder. How great is that?
It's a good movie. Everyone should check that out.
I'm gonna totally check it out.
It's got a really gnarly scene with that.
Is it from Spain?
Yeah, I think it's Spanish.
Okay, I think it's Spanish. But I love the concept of that. I just thought they might be killing it. Did they kill animals in it?
Not that I can recall, no.
Okay, I thought they might kill animals in it. But speaking of killing animals, I did want to get to this before we head over to the Patreon. We're going to do some trailers on there. There's been a lot of talk about studio failures. In particular, Disney is having a very rough year. This is the 4th year in a row that Disney, in all of its properties, including the Marvel properties and so forth, and the Disney and the Pixar related properties, this is the 4th year in a row that Disney did not have a $1 billion year. And they put out quite a bit of products. I wasn't aware of this, but the movie Wish, which is a Pixar film, which opened a few weeks ago, is apparently underperforming. And of course, prior to that, a few weeks earlier, the Marvels has grossly underperformed and has pretty much fallen off the radar almost entirely. I think by the second week, it lost possibly domestically 70+% of its gross. So now they're looking at the studio heads. And I believe Bob Iger, who is the head of Disney, said, and I don't know if we could pull this up, B-Show, when they asked him, why are these movies not doing so well? He had some interesting things to say, but one of the things he said was it's because there was no studio executives on the sets overseeing these properties, which is a big thing, which is an old-fashioned sort of idea that studio heads would send the big wigs down to make sure everybody was doing their job, which is a fascinating thing when you think about it, Bisha, right? I mean, this is really interesting what he has to say here.
When historically executives have meddled in movies, making them worse. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of a story, and I reference Rob Zombie quite a bit because he talks about Bob Weinstein.
Yeah,
but I don't think there's ever been a movie that people have come out and said, you know what really helped me make this great film? The executives. There were so many suits on set telling me what I need to do. It's like, no, like I could understand if they didn't think there was enough oversight, and maybe with this expanding like CG and stuff like that, like maybe there aren't enough key people in key places. But I've never, ever in my life heard of a situation where a movie was made better because there were more suits getting involved with the movies. Not once.
Yeah, it's fascinating because he's basically saying, we're going to quote, this is his quote. This is not a paraphrase, and this is a quote. Quality needs attention. It doesn't happen by accident. Quantity, in our case, diluted quality, he said per NBC News. And he would say, I would say right now, my number one priority is to help the studio turn around creatively. The Marvels appeared to a disappointing $47 million this month, marking the lowest opening ever for an MCU movie. There's only a number of reasons to point to that lead to the reality of the mix of them, the overall struggle superhero market that they've had in 2023, the onslaught of Marvel Disney content. We've all had this conversation till we're blue in the face. Shah, this is probably one. I mean, honestly, this is a very dumb thing for a studio executive to say, because he's basically saying that, I mean, it's a little bit more meat to that story. He's saying that there was nobody on the set of, say, the Marvels to make changes to make the films better. Do you think this is just them trying to save their ass because of how wildly unpopular studio executives are after the strike?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of deflecting and not taking any kind of like accountability for losing that creative juice, you know? I don't like when people do this, man. Like, accountability to me is a big thing as an adult, especially when when your name holds this much weight. I think you should, get your crowd back by just admitting, like, hey, we maybe put out too many projects and we lost track of, what we used to do. We're going to get back on track next year.
Right.
But deflecting like this and passing the blame on by saying that, we essentially weren't on the set to micromanage every second. Like, come on, man.
It's pretty scummy.
You guys dropped the ball. Just admit it and pick it back up when you can. But I mean, I don't know, man. But if they don't pick it up, though, I don't give a shit because I'm not a fan, so it doesn't really matter for me. But for their fans' sake, like yourself and Drew Yori and everybody else that watches it, I think it would help them out. It would benefit them to just admit that, hey, we fucked up and we're going to do better next year.
Yeah. Bisho, what are your thoughts? Because you've seen a lot of these properties, unlike Shah. You've seen a lot of these properties.
It seems like too many cooks in the kitchen already. I mean, even with Star Wars, because I'm more familiar with the Star Wars stuff and the franchise as it's been the past couple of years than I am Marvel. I've seen the Marvel movies. I haven't followed a ton of that stuff.
Right.
I mean, there's actually a rumor going around. I don't know if it's been substantiated yet that Kathleen Kennedy is going to get finally ousted.
Well, they brought in that other person. Yeah, they brought in another person.
And because she was caught allegedly taking money from one project and using it for another. And in her clause, allegedly it says she can't be fired unless it's with, something criminal.
Mhm.
And that's the take right now, is that something's going on. So like, if you think about how far astray these franchises have gone because of the decisions of executives, the decisions of the studio, we have to be like the Kathleen Kennedy thing on South Park, put someone in it, make them gay, make it lame, make it diverse. Like,
put a chick in it, make it gay, make it lame.
Thank you. Exactly. Like, even Bob Iger or some executive recently has come out and said, we need to make movies that make money. It's great that you want to do all this other stuff. You want to have a message. You want to say something. That's great. But at the end of the day, it's got to make money. So It's really an odd stance for him to take now, unless this is a polite way of him trying to rein this in so that they can have more executives there day to day to see what's getting out of hand. But it seems, again, you're talking about dilution of a property. Now you're diluting the day-to-day vision. Just have a story Bible, have an executive producer like a Dave Filoni or someone like that.
Chris Matthews brought up. They put him over Kathleen Kennedy, apparently.
Yeah, and it's like, have someone there that knows the product, have a story Bible, follow these rules. You can deviate from this. You can play with that, but don't break the rule, and go from there. You don't need 30 executives overseeing every move. I've never been a part of an office that's benefited from micromanagement.
No.
So, Shah might be happy because if this happens, maybe in 2 years, there won't be as many superhero movies.
Yeah, I think I think Shah's right. I think what they'll end up doing is they'll make less of these movies unless they're more profitable. But, Jodie Foster, maybe one of the best living actresses of all time. I mean, best living, top 5, possibly. She doesn't work that much, but when she does, it's a big fucking deal. She's older now. They asked Jodie Foster was criticizing the Marvel movies today, which is because she just did a season of True Detective that's going to air in January. And Jodie Foster was saying basically that the superhero movies, some of them were pretty good, but its time has come and gone. Like, she thinks it's time for them to go, which is a convenient thing to say when they're bad, right? But you have to realize, no matter what anyone says about these movies, 15 years ago, these movies literally bailed Hollywood out of the doldrums. Like they saved, the MCU saved the cinema. Like, it saved movies. It absolutely did, because there was no movies making these kind of money. It was nothing but rom-coms and hostage movies with like Liam Neeson or some shit. Like, that's all we had. It was rom-coms. Like Ryan Reynolds was in rom-coms like before he was in these movies, before he was Deadpool. You know, so I get what Jodie Foster's trying to say, and I know this is something Shah's been saying for a long time. But the reality is, you got to give credit where credit's due. This industry, the comic book industry, saved the cinematic universe. Movies were dying. This is when they started jacking prices up and stuff like that. Nobody was lining up to go see Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds in a wacky fucking romance comedy. You know,
I get that, dude. I can't discredit them for what they did, and I'm not here to do that. But at the same time, bad special effects and Marvel should not be in the same sentence. Their movies are they're high budget movies. Like them being cheap. It's like going to a burger joint, right? At first, when it's a mom and dad shop, they have the time, they have the patience. Burgers are amazing. They blow up and turn into a chain. Now you're getting frozen burgers with a guy that doesn't give a shit because he has to flip 375 of them in an hour. Right. The quality goes down. The quality control is the problem. Is because they're overwhelmed. They're doing too many projects. They're putting in like slave labor hours. Like they're talking about they have people working 20 hours out of it. Like what?
Yeah,
Dude, what
they're outsourcing the special effects.
Yeah, that's where you lose people. You know what I mean? You're not taking care of your inner circle. People are probably tired. They're not putting in their best, and they're just doing too much. This is what happens when you do too much. Same with wrestling. You remember wrestling was dope when it was 1 day a week?
Yeah.
They tried to move to 5 shows. What happened? People got tired of this shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is true. I mean, but you know what's interesting, and we're going to end on this note because we got a lot of stuff to get through the Patreon. There was a critic, I don't remember this person's name, but I had said this recently, that said almost dollar for dollar, Killers of the Flower Moon, which by the way just won the New York Critics Film Choice Award last night. Which is a precursor to like all the big awards. Killers of the Flower Moon lost the same amount of money at the box office that the Marvels did. But I don't see it, but there's nobody talking about that, why that is. And they said that's very strange because Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro are two of the most famous people walking on the planet Earth. And so it was maybe the greatest living director directed it. So why is it that when they lose $100 million, it's like, meh. But when the Marvels loses $100 million, it's the sky is falling, everything's terrible, the movie's too woke, everybody's terrible, everybody hates comic books. Not wrong. I think the difference is Killers of the Flower Moon is going to win 50 awards in the next 4 months, and no one's going to fucking touch these movies again. So the reason is the comic movies have to make the box office because they're not going to get the money from winning awards, from getting the attention, from being re-released because it's going to win Best Picture or Best Director or Best Cinematography or Best Actor or Best Actress. What do you think of that, Shah? Do you think that's a fair comparison? Because it's not fair to compare these movies because seldom will any of these movies ever do anything other than make box office.
No, I get what you're saying. I don't think it's fair at all, though, because you're comparing Killers of the Flower Moon being a failure one time to the MCU drastically declining movie after movie after. If Scorsese put out 3 movies and all 3 of them bombed, people would be talking about like, damn, dude, Scorsese, he shit the bed 4 times in a row. I think that's why people are talking about. It's not that Marvel missed one time. I mean, I don't follow it, but us discussing it, it seems like they've been declining steadily. Like it's not, you know what I mean? I think there's a huge difference because this seems to be a pattern in that universe. Whereas Scorsese, he didn't put out a bad product. People are saying these are bad movies. Right. You know, Scorsese just didn't do well because the movie one is 3.5 hour fucking long movie. And secondly, it's not a movie that it's I don't want to call it an art house movie, but it's one of these dramatic, super fucking.
Oh, it's a bummer movie, dude. It's a bummer movie. Like it's a bummer. Yeah. It's not a feel. It's like The Whale. The Whale didn't make a lot of money. The Whale didn't last year. The Whale didn't make a lot of money, but you knew it was going to win the award.
That's what I mean, though. It's made for cinephiles that appreciate that kind of cinematic experience. Whereas MCU, you have your kids that want to go to the movie. They want to see it 5 times because they're little kids and they want to see Superman. I mean, not Superman, but whatever, Spider-Man. It's a different experience, man. Because I mean, that's again the MCU. You're also targeting kids, adults, all ages. Whereas Killers of the Flower Moon, probably 30 and up. Like I don't see 19-year-olds going to see this movie.
Well, remember I told you that opening weekend they had like 60% of the audience was people under 35, but then they never went again. Like nobody else went.
Yeah, people that actually appreciate the art of filmmaking.
Right. They're probably cinephiles or people who study art, the art of movies. Or
just my own taste. When I was in my mid-20s, I didn't give a fuck about like the cinematic experience. I just wanted a quick horror. I didn't appreciate film like I do now. You know what I mean? You grow with your taste. You know what I mean? So I think it's different. MCU, they have everyone to cater to, and it's also a pattern of decline. Whereas Martin Scorsese has more of a niche audience, and it's only happened one time versus, it being a pattern. So,
Bisho, what do you think? Do you think it's unfair to compare them both losing $100 million?
I think it is, because I also think it goes back to when you take a beloved property that has baggage with it. And repeatedly, Disney, through Marvel, through Lucasfilm, they took these properties and have been doing it elsewhere too, but Marvel and Lucasfilm are the two big ones. They've pulled out these properties. They have beaten them like a cheap rug. They have alienated the original fan bases who kept these alive for a long time in a number of ways, and they fucked with the secret sauce. So, like, a lot of wrestling fans probably in the chat. You guys remember ECW? ECW, I don't know if I'd say it was underground by 1999 when I found it on TNN. It was in its later days. It was more homogenized, more mainstream. But then I went back and watched the old tapes because I had a buddy who was a trader. So then One Night Stand happens. It's this big thing. Now there's a demand, and Vince McMahon goes, "Oh, I can make money with this shit." Right. What's the first thing they did? They brought in the old guys. They jobbed them out. They pushed Bobby Lashley. They pushed, I can't even remember the names, but it was a bunch of guys who looked pretty.
Right, guys they couldn't fit into their regular roster. Right.
Right. And then they brought on Bob Holly, and he beat the shit out of like Sabu and Dreamer and Van Dam.
Sandman, yeah.
And that's exactly what Marvel and what Lucasfilm have done to these properties under the Disney umbrella. So I think, one, there's a lot bigger expectation and a lot bigger expectation. There's a lot bigger microscope on it from the fan base, who are very vicious and very hardcore. And the studio, after doing that, waged war on social media and through articles and through AstroTurf.
Right, that's very true. Yes.
Yeah, AstroTurf, news articles.
Right. You had critics helping out, going, well, it's a racist and sexist, and that's why people didn't want to go. That's why they didn't see the movie, because they're racist and they're sexist. And it's like, well, right. Why did they see everything else? Like, why did Barbie do $1 billion? It's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And on top of that, they took a niche, a big niche, because comic properties and Star Wars are big fandoms. But they, not to quote Wayne's World twice in a show, but they did the whole, hey, let's take Led Zeppelin and let's try to make them the Bee Gees. And it's like, no, it doesn't work like that. So not only did they alienate the core, but they tried to change these movies to appeal to the mass audience. It would almost be like Blumhouse taking like Terrifier and signing Damien and going, all right, but now we're going to take it PG and Art's going to like dance and sing.
Yes,
like,
Art. Yes, Art's going to be an angel sent from heaven. But we got a bunch of stuff to get to in the Patreon, so consider joining us there. We're going to head over there in a little bit. But first, we want to give our plugs to all of our friends and pals. We're going to plug Deathmatch Outlaws. We're going to plug the Drew Yari Experience and Cassette Classics 86 on YouTube. And, of course, the Down on the Thundercast. Don Tony, he's back with Kevin Castle. And we have Necromaniacs Podcast. I think they're going to do their big hits for the year in a couple of weeks. But they're doing a bunch of shows every week. You want to be checking them out. They're horror every week reviewing. So hopefully a lot of you are already checking them out. The Human Experience Podcast. And, of course, the return of Ringside is Wrestling on YouTube. Mojo and Dirk's most dastardly show, The Garden of Doom. And then we have the Old Guy Metal Cast. And, of course, funkbetty.com. Head over to funkbetty.com. Get some nice clothes for the holidays right now at funkbetty.com. MJW Games. And, of course, Sherry Jesus on YouTube and his band Kaiser. Red River Podcast, that's our good friend Sam Hoyos and his band Playing Dead. The Bio Geeks, of course, Fatty 316, and the High Marks Podcast, Midnight Mass Creature Cast, the Weekly Detour with Andy, Alston, and Teddy, and the Guns and Geeks Podcast. Shah, anything happening on Planet Mondo this week?
Yeah, I'm working on some stuff. I don't have anything up right now, but I'm definitely subscribe and stay subscribed, because in the next couple weeks I'll be dropping some new videos, and I'll be going back to the format of making almost like little video essays and not just like live streams, or it'll be more edited stuff. So it's going to take some time. I doubt I'll be able to post weekly, because again, these videos take like 8 to fucking 15 hours to make.
Jesus Christ.
With all the editing and stuff. So it has to be something that I drop, maybe twice a month or something like that. But stay subscribed. I'm going to have some video essays, and it's not just going to be on movies anymore. I'm going to go into serial killers and weird mysteries and now, all kinds of different stuff. So that's why I mean with Planet Mondo. So I didn't have to like corner myself in just movies. It's just a random name for anything.
Now, Shah, before we head out, do we want to do a quick little recap of your experience this week, or do you want to put it on the Patreon? Or do you want to save it?
Oh,
for
we could
next
either
week?
put it on Patreon or we could discuss it next week because it's
I want to
it's
do a
gonna take
deeper
a
dive
while.
on it. Is it okay if we do it? If we
Yeah,
do
because
all
it's
right, I
gonna
don't
take
want
a
to say
little bit of
anything
time. I don't
because
want
I
to.
feel like we could do almost the whole show on that next week. And I
Yeah,
want
but
to.
just we should tease it though, so people
Can you
check it out.
tease it? Can you just give them an idea what we're talking about, please? For the
So
we go to Patreon.
there is a YouTube channel
It's too good.
by the name of Coach Eli. He is a self-proclaimed
Oh my
life
god, this is
coach,
gonna be so great.
and he's 50 years old, lives with his mom. He hasn't had a job for over half a decade, but yet he claims to be a life coach, and he wants to charge people to give them tips and tricks on success, on business, on relationships, on all these things that he doesn't have himself. So it's delusional, and he does live streams daily where it's actually fascinating. Like he's so hated on the internet. It's actually amazing to me because there's people that restream his streams, and those people get more
Oh,
views than his
God.
actual stream.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on this next week,
People
honestly.
that hate him, like he's been on other people's shows where people have donated over $1,000 to the stream just because they hate this guy. But long story short, I jumped on a panel and I called him out earlier live, and it was a shit fest. So if you want to check that out, stay
we
tuned.
may have to do a whole episode. I'm not even joking. We may have to.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably literally do a whole episode on
We
that.
might have to. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. I don't know.
Maybe that'll be
We'll
like the
see how week
bonus.
goes.
That'll be the
Yeah,
bonus.
well, we're going to do a holiday bonus show. You
Yeah,
know, the
maybe
bonus
next
shows are
month
getting a
we'll do
little
it.
thin, guys, for Patreon because it is the holidays. It's a little tricky with schedules. It's only going to get worse with the end of the year. But we'll make it up to you, I promise. But yeah, it was just too good. I mean, we could do a whole fucking show on that. And of course, Joe Punch has said, shout out to Shah, and he's telling everybody to hit you up for commissions for the holidays.
Actually, for the holidays, for Christmas, if you want to, surprise your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your parents, grandparents, whatever. I'm taking commissions, holiday commissions. If you want to have your pets illustrated, your wife, whoever, hit me up. Planet.mondo on Instagram or nuclearheatgraphics@gmail.com. Hit me up.
Okay, and of course, B Show. Anything happened on the B Show Brian channel?
No, but like Shah, I kind of said, I've had a lot of time to think about my channel and what I'm going to do, and I just felt like inertia to do live streams and reaction videos because that's what everybody does. But I also want to get back to doing like series of things. So what I might do is record a batch and then drop them over the course of a month while I record something else.
Oh, okay.
To try to keep it going, or maybe once a month, once every 2 weeks. But yeah, I want to get back and be true to form because I had a lot more fun doing that, and doing the live reaction stuff was just like everybody does that. So
right.
I don't know, just it wasn't fun after a while.
Being in these horror circles and because I'm a part of a bunch of random communities on YouTube, and there's been a lot of people that I've been friendly with that I've seen their channels grow to 60,000 subscribers now, where they're like, dude, this is half of my job now. I don't have to work. So I've seen it happen with people
like
that
the
I know.
Self-help guy, Shah.
Huh?
Like the self-help guy.
Well, that guy, he's got 6,000, but he's been on YouTube for also 6 years, but he gets no traction. It's just people hate him. It's just to troll him. Literally, people just show up to troll him.
We could literally do a whole show. We might have to devote the show to it next week.
It's fascinating. Like this guy,
might have to, or at least
dude, I'm not even gonna lie. I watch his streams daily,
and there might be an update, by the way, too. So that actually might be better.
Oh yeah, because he did a whole show on me tonight that I haven't even. Heard.
This is even, of course. What the fuck?
This is too good. This is too good to put behind a paywall too. I think.
Oh yeah, no, we have to do
like
something free.
Show.
No.
Yeah.
No, if you would have told me that, I would have said no way we're doing that tonight because now we have to go to the other. We have to put these things together.
Oh yeah, there's people reacting to it. There's a whole lot of people involved with it now. It's been like
so next week is going to be a fucking Lollapalooza around here. And of course, maybe the week after we'll do the year end, but we'll talk about it. But we're going to head over to Patreon right now. Thank you guys for checking us out on the free. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week on Spitball Media.